canvas. And I know it's sideways, but I'm gonna just kind of make it a little crooked, and I'm gonna work this way, and I'll try to make sure that you can see the whole thing as we go. I'm gonna start with the top and just work myself down. And I'm gonna do something crazy, guys. We're gonna use some Venetian plaster. Now this is Valspar Venetian plaster from Lowe's, and it is their tint base. It is does not have any color in it, but I'm gonna use it. It's white in the can. I'm gonna use it straight out of the container, and I also have a couple of colors with me as well. Hey Nancy, I have Waterfall by Delta. I have Rainy Day by Anita's, and I also have white. Always have the white. And also brought some Folk Art Sterling Silver, which is metallic. So I should have brought gold too, because I am trying to decide if I'm going to do gold or silver. I'm leaning towards silver. And then I would silver leaf. I'm going to add a little bit of silver to my canvas, to my background, and then I would silver leaf the inside and use some silver glass. So I think I'm going to stick with that. That's what I originally had decided. But today my brain is like mush, and I decide something, and then I undecide, and then I decide and undecide. And right now I'm looking for my can key, which I cannot find. Hang on. Let me grab another one. I know I got one. That's okay. I have billions. This is a can key. Silver, gold, silver, gold. We're going to do silver on this one only because I brought the silver and I don't want to get up and go get the gold out of the other room. So we're going to do silver on this one. And so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to be using a big old palette knife. This is a tool I bought from Hobby Lobby. It's a number 5 metal palette from Master's Touch. I always get these when they're half price. So at least once a month, the Master's Touch products from Hobby Lobby are half price. And this tool runs about $8. I love these tools. It runs about $8 regular price, so you can get one when they're half price for $4 or $5. So anywho, what I want to do, I don't 100% know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get started. So I'm going to open up my plaster. This is that Valspar from Lowe's. And I'm just going to start putting it on, and then we're going to just add some color while it works. Yeah, I'm sure it would. We're going to just go with this. I may change my mind. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'm just going to play. So basically, I am going to just start putting on some plaster onto my canvas. And I think what I'm going to do is start at the bottom, and I'll do the bottom kind of horizontal, and then I'll bring the plaster down. Actually, I'm going to start at the top. See how wishy-washy I am today? I'm losing my mind. I have 0 concentration skills. So this is what the plaster looks like in the can. So it's just kind of a thick paste. So I'm just going to start at the top. I'm going to load as much as I can onto my palette, and I am just going to apply it. I know it's white on white, so it's kind of hard to see, but I'm just going to get it 100% covered, and then we will get it where we want it, or in the direction. Hey, Don Swan. Where's Billy Joel Jim Bob? So I'm going to get it on, just spread it on your canvas. And this dries white too, and it'll also, depending on how thick I apply it, it'll crackle as well. So it'll look kind of crackly. Hey Judy too. We are starting on the background work for our wine bottle piece. So we're going to do a wine bottle piece this week. And so this is just step 1 of that piece. So I am just getting some plaster. This is Valspar Venetian Plaster Tint Base. So we're just going to get that onto our canvas, and then we will kind of push it around and make it look how we want. We're gonna add some color, and we'll let that dry. Oh, I never even finished my, see how squirrely I am today? Never even finished my conversation about people asking me about beginners courses. There have been a lot of new people who just found our page, and they're emailing me asking me about beginners courses. Now, you guys know I do have a beginners course. It's called Get Shattered Boot Camp, and we just had one in February, and I normally only do those boot camps. It's a 4-week course, and I normally only do that. Yes, I put a hanger on the back of the crosses, Judy. I normally only do that 2 to 3 times a year, but I've had so much interest in from beginners that I think we are going to open boot camp back up in about a week, and we're gonna just open it up instead of waiting until fall, because we were gonna like do it again in September, and instead of waiting, we're gonna go ahead and open up that boot camp so that we can accommodate some of our new people. So excited. Judy, I am using the sawtooth hangers on the back. They're 2-inch sawtooth hangers. I think they're 2 inches. Don't make me lie. It might not be 2 inches, but I'm using the sawtooth hangers on the back. So once I get my entire canvas covered, I'm going to take my trowel, the flat side of my piece, and I'm just going to really gently lay it into the plaster and pull straight down. Now I'm going to give you a little close-up of that in just a second so you can see the texture that creates. It's a very interesting texture, and what'll happen too is it will crackle and look super, super cool. So hang on, let me get it all on there. I want to wipe any loosey-gooseys off the edge so we don't have a mess on the edge. All right, so let me show you close up what that looks like. So can you see the texture? Can you see the texture it creates? It's a very textury, downward. Karen, I don't have a cross kit. If that's what you're talking about, are you talking about this cross? I don't have a kit for that, dear. Thank you for the sprinkles. Yes, Maureen, the new people are coming in from you guys sprinkling. I love you guys so much. No, Catherine, it's going to be the same boot camp projects because I haven't had an opportunity to change those up yet. That's why we weren't having it again until September. But since I've had so much interest, I'm going to offer it one more time. I'm just going to open the doors and offer it to anybody who wants to take a beginner's class. So there is that texture. So what I'm going to do now is I'm trying to decide if we're going to have our bottle at an angle. I do still think I want to add a little bit of a horizontal pull down at the bottom. So I'm just going to do that same thing, just kind of in a horizontal angle instead of the vertical. Now what I want to do now though is add some color, okay? Let me get some of this goo off. Let's see, I'm missing so many questions. Hang on. It's really hard for me to see your question, so let me just tell you this. I'm going to grab some color. If I miss your question, please don't worry. I will come back after the live is over and answer any questions that I miss. There are 4 projects in boot camp, okay? There are 4 projects in boot camp, and it's 4 weeks, a project a week with all videos and information. And I will go into more detail about that and when we're done here, because I don't want this to start to dry up and then we get lost. This is Venetian plaster that I used on the angel wings. You can use modeling paste, absolutely. I think this is the same. Okay, this I'm using is the Rainy Day Gray. I need to go ahead and do this, guys. I'll answer your questions shortly because I don't want my plaster to start drying up because it gets kind of gummy. So I'm just pulling that right over the top of that plaster. I'm also going to add a little bit of white. Just a little squirt of white here and there, and do the same thing. I'm just going to take a smaller palette knife and just run it over. Go this way a little. Just to kind of give it that table, you know, like it's sitting on a table maybe, even though it's going to be kind of crooked. So now what I want to do is we are going to have our bottle kind of sitting at an angle and stuff coming out the top. So I'm kind of just playing in my head, trying to figure out what I want to do. Because this is not pre-planned, guys. This is just coming out of my head as I work. I really want to have some color here. Just not sure what that is. So hang on. I'm futzing. All right. So I think I'm going to use a little bit of this blue. That is probably my iPad. Hang on. Because if I mute it, then my, see if that's better. When I mute it, it turns on my closed captioning, which drives me crazy. But it'll be okay. Did that make it go away, Elizabeth? Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this blue on my plate. And this is Waterfall. And a little bit of white. Because I want to pull some of that through here, okay? So I'm going into my white first, and I'm just going to drag, oops, I got some blue on there. I'm going to drag some of the white through. Now this will show up when it's dry as 2 colors, because even though the plaster looks white, it'll dry a little bit darker. It'll have a little bit of gray look to it. So I'm getting a little bit of blue in there too. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it, but I'll show it to you in just a second. Oh, there comes the blue. So I'm just running some of that color into the plaster mix because I don't want the plaster to be plain. I just want a little bit of color in my background. The light is flickering. No idea why. It's not flickering on my end. It may be the camera trying to focus because I'm moving too much, maybe. I don't know. I got nothing. I got no ideas. All right, I need some more white. So I'm just trying to get a little color. Now, what I don't want is it to look like an obvious straight line. So I'm going to pull that over. Bring a little more white in. Cover that up. And we'll play with this some more tomorrow. There's no ceiling fan. I see what you're talking about, though. It does look like it's flickering, but there's no ceiling fan. There's no anything. Try turning the camera. I can't turn my camera any other way. I don't know. Hang on. I have to keep doing this, or my plaster is going to dry, and then we'll have bigger problems. So we'll have to figure that out in a minute. I can't stop, guys. It's like when you're doing resin. You can't stop right in the middle. So I'm just going to have to figure that out in a second. I need to get this before my plaster starts to dry, because then it'll pull and make like a wrinkle, and it does not look good. No, there's no ceiling fan. So now I'm just kind of pulling left to right just to give it a little horizontal. I'm just futzing until I like what I see, basically. Let's get a little blue here. Whistling. All right, I think I'm happy, except for that spot right there. Okay, it's kind of a smoky blue look. I'm gonna stop for a second and see if the camera will focus. I think the flickering stopped. It stopped on my end. I'm not sure what that was. I'm gonna hold this up a little bit closer so that maybe you guys can see what I did, a little close up. Of course, I will take a picture too. So the bottom is more, it has that rainy day gray in it. I remember that too, but I think it was because I was upside down. Remember that? Let me see if that changes it. Is it still flickering? I'm gonna move the camera up because we're gonna stop and let this dry. So I'm gonna turn the camera upright. I think you'll be able to see it better anyway. I just want to make sure I don't get crap all over the place. And I want to get my top back on the plaster. See if we can visualize what we're doing here. Okay, so our bottle is going to be tilted, and I haven't pulled my cork yet. I have a whole box full of corks, but I'm going to take a cork, and we'll do that live. I'm going to take that cork and cut it in half, and we're going to put it up here somewhere. So it's going to look like the cork popped and that the wine or whatever is spewing everywhere. Yes, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. Once I get my hair fixed, I might feel like a human again and be able to function properly. Right now, I'm just like, I don't even have the desire to wash my hair because it looks gross anyway because of this black line of garbage I have out. Anyway, we're going to use Duck's water-based size for our leaf, and I went ahead and pulled a little sheet of leafing. This is just composition gold leaf. It's that imitation gold leaf stuff you can get at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, wherever. Yeah, the clear was few and far between. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, what other member is selling wine, cut wine bottles? I would be curious to know that. Anyway, I'm going to pour a little bit of the Duck's, the size for the leafing, onto my plate. And I'm just going to take a round brush, just a small liner brush, and I'm going to make just some lines of size coming out of my bottle like it is water coming out. You know what, Lynette? I actually put on a headscarf the other day and I felt ridiculous. I may just have to get over it because my head gets really super hot with this hat on 24/7. So I may have to get over it, and you know, I just felt silly, but I'm gonna have to get past it. Okay, so all I'm gonna do right now is dip really heavily into my size, and I'm just gonna make some lines. Okay, I'm gonna show you, I kind of cheated and put some lines with a watercolor pencil just to help me out. I hear you, Lori. That's why I was wondering. Yes, this is what I use every time I gold leaf. You know, I just buy it in mass quantity because in my past life, I've done a lot of like gold leaf on ceilings and furniture and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure about that either than that. So I'm just going to, this is where my bottle is going to be. So I'm just going to leave it here so it's in the proper place. And I'm just going to draw my lines with that size. And you're not going to be able to really see it because it's clear. But once it tacks up and I add the gold leaf, you'll be able to see it better. So I'm just adding the leaf to the lines I pre-drew with, or the size. And you're gonna have to be fairly generous if you're using Venetian plaster because it is going to, almost dumped that. It's gonna soak it up a little because the Venetian plaster is kind of porous. So it's going to soak it into the plaster a little. So remember that as you go. Don't put a really thin, nothing line or you're going to not have any size left once it dries up into the plaster. So be a little generous. So I'm just making a line. So that was a little bit of a fatty line, but we'll work with it. It'll be all right. It's gonna be what it is. Gonna be what it is. So I'm just making lines with my size. You could even, if you didn't want to use leaf, you could even just use like a gold paint pen if you wanted to. Just whatever, use what you have. I know we're all struggling finding art supplies these days. Hopefully that will end soon. So if you don't have leaf, just use, if you have a gold paint pen or gold paint, just use what you have. Seriously. There are no rules. None whatsoever. So, this might take a hot minute to set up, but that's okay. So I don't know if you can even see that as it kind of wets. I don't know if you can see that. So, how's that pine glass? I just want to kind of go back and make sure. Just going to hit it one more time, really lightly. In a couple of spots anyway that were thin, to make sure it's going to stick the leaf. Anytime you're working on a textured surface or a porous surface, you're going to probably have to do more than one coat. Be very generous with your application. I think we're good. Let me check over here. So while that sets up, and by the way, did you notice? I know that yesterday when we were working, I couldn't decide if I was going to do gold or silver, but I guess y'all figured out that I'm using gold. So, let me stick that in the water so it doesn't ruin my brush. Now what I'm gonna do is just move my bottle out of the way, and I'm gonna set this down on the floor. I don't know if you can see that now, the little lines that I made with the size, but I'm gonna set this on the floor for a minute and let that tack up while we work on our bottle, okay? So this is a clear wine bottle that has been cut in half by the guy I buy from. So the first thing I want to do is make sure it's clean on the inside, okay? And I like this perfect glass, and I usually use like this packing paper that is lint-free to clean my glass, and I'm only going to clean the inside because that's all we're going to deal with right now, and it'll make it easier so we don't have to clean the inside and the outside and then wonder how we're going to handle it. So I'm going to make sure there are not any fingerprints or marks on the inside of my bottle. So make sure it's nice and dry before we apply our leaf. And here is what I'm going to do. Get that nice and dry. I'm going to take a Sharpie, okay? That is the inside of the bottle, okay? But I'm going to turn it over for now. This is how it's going to be sitting on our canvas. So what I want to do is apply my leaf where it's okay, the bottle is going to be sitting kind of at an angle like this. So what I want to do is, is apply my leaf in a particular manner so that it, yeah, Elizabeth, if you have a colored bottle, you could actually do this to the outside of the bottle if you want to, or not at all. It's completely your choice. So I want it to look like the gold leaf that I'm going to use is like the liquid in the bottle. So what I'm going to do is just take my Sharpie and I am going to just make a mark on the outside of my bottle so that I know right here is where I want my leaf to be. So that when I flip, and you can just wipe this off with Windex when you're done. So now I know where I want my leaf to be on the inside of my bottle. Does that make good sense to you guys? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to take that size again, and I'm going to use a sponge brush, and I am going to sponge on that size very lightly. You don't want to use too much because then it'll be kind of drippy. So you're going to do a really thin coat, let it dry, and then do maybe a second coat if it's needed. So I'm just doing a really thin coat of the size inside my bottle, all the way up to my little line that I've drawn, because I know that's where my juice is gonna be. And do it slowly and gently so you're not forming a bunch of bubbles with your size. And if you have spray size, like you can get size in like a spray, what you can do is just mask off the part of the inside that you don't want for it to be, and then spray it. Yeah, you want it to be thin because you don't want it dripping. You want it to just stick to that glass. Okay, so I don't know if you can even see kind of how I've coated it. It's thin enough that I can hold it upright and it's not running, okay? You don't want it to run. Hey, Leah, how are you? Hey, Judy, too. So we need that to tack up for a few minutes. And let's see if we can go back to halt. I'm gonna put this aside. Then let's see if we can go back to our canvas and see what's happening on it. This is still a little wet, so we really need this to dry. So I think what I'm gonna do, if you guys don't mind, is hit it with a blow dryer for 5 seconds. See if I can. You wouldn't want to do this for the most part when you're doing your piece of art. You don't want to force things to dry if you don't have to. But we're going to do it now anyway, just because. We don't want to be here all night. So I'm just going to put it on, I'm going to put my dryer on low. It probably takes, this says 25 minutes. Proper tack will develop in 25 minutes and hold tack for 24 to 36 hours. All right? So I'm going to just hit this really quick with just a little bit of warm air. I don't want to blow it around, and I don't want to just dry the top, but I'm going to hit it with a little bit of warm air to see if we can get it a little more dry. So we can go ahead and do it. Hang on. Hey, Connie. Thank you for answering, Rima. I'm just going to keep hitting this for a few minutes. I don't know why it's called size Colette. It just is, and I've never even questioned that. I don't know. It's like, it's glue. Basically, it's glue that holds the leafing on, and that's just what they call it. I don't know why. But this is what I'm using, but this is, you know, a huge bottle. You don't need this. So you can get a tiny little bit of it at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Ready. It might be ready. I'm going to push this aside. So thank you for the sprinkles, Leah. Appreciate you. Okay, so this is, I believe, ready. So we are just going to take a little, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little bit of this composition leaf. Now, normally I would use the paper to apply it. I would do this a particular way, but this is kind of stuck down. So I am really just going to try, I want to try to make this kind of skippy. Like, I don't want a solid line. So I'm going to just peel off a little bit of the leaf and just kind of dot it on those sticky places where I put the size. Hang on. So that it's kind of sporadic. So I'm just rubbing it in those spots, and then you can scrub off the excess. This is totally not the proper way to apply leaf, so don't fuss at me if you're one of those expert gold leaf appliers, because this is not at all how I would do it. But I just don't want it all over my studio, and I don't want it to cover this line 100%. So I'm trying to be kind of loosey-goosey. So I'm just going to kind of dab it on. I stuck it down now. And I'm just gonna keep playing with it, and then I'll brush off the excess. Not as strong as the ducks. I've used both, Rima. I don't know. I think Wanda sauce, to me, stays sticky forever. Isn't that oil-based as well? I think the ducks is water-based. So kind of like it better. Now you see how instead of, because of the way I'm doing it, I'm going to take forever to do it, but it's not creating like a solid, perfect line of gold. And that's kind of what I'm going for. So that's kind of why I'm doing it this way, even though it's slightly annoying. It's annoying me, probably annoying you. So I'm just kind of dabbing it on where I applied that size. Now, normally you would brush on that size where you want it. Just wait 25 minutes or so according to whatever size you're using, and then apply your leaf. But I forced mine dry because I wanted to. I didn't want to wait 25 minutes, and so we're just moving ahead. So I'm just kind of cheating. We'll come up here, try to stick that on. Kind of using my fingernail to scratch at it too, so it's kind of scrapey, irregular, kind of organic. I don't know the words I'm trying to use. I'm a little overworked today, so I'm kind of punchy. Hey, Eileen, how are you, love? Hey, Elaine. We're just doing crazy stuff. I'm just applying a little bit of gold leaf to my piece where we are going to put our... This stuff blows too. The air conditioning just came on. So now it's blowing stuff everywhere. This stuff's messy too. Remember that huge sealant I did? I don't know if you guys remember that from last year. It was actually a big, like 8 foot by 4 foot ceiling medallion I did in gold leaf. Oh my gosh, my studio was covered in leaf forever. So I want it to be really irregular and smattery. So yay! I went by my Hobby Lobby today to see if perhaps they were open. Sadly, they were not. So maybe soon. We shall see. So I'm just going to just dab it on, pull it off, scrape it around. If any of the masters, the faux finishing, leafing, if Kate Whitson could see me now, Rima, she'd be having a heart attack about my leaf application. Any of our old masters, they would be dying. What are you doing? Don't look, Ethel. Don't look. They'd be having a fit. Do you remember that, Pam? It was massive. And there was leaf all over my studio for a month. I just could not get it out. Because it's, you know, it's lightweight. I mean, it's just about weightless. And it flies everywhere. It just goes all over the place. So it was a hot mess. So I'm almost done, y'all. Almost. Hey, Mary Ellen, are you making Allison cookies? Yay, she will be thrilled. I miss that girl. You'll have to give her a hug for me. Is the store open up, Mary Ellen? Has the store opened yet? Yeah, that's what they'd say too. Wear cotton gloves. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I can't even stand to wear gloves when I resin. So I'm not doing it for this. They'd be having fits. Fits, I tell ya. You're doing it wrong. They'd be insulted. They'd be mad. They'd be making mean comments. I'd have to be fussing at them, telling them go on with themselves. So basically you can see that the leaf doesn't really stick where there is no size, okay? So let me brush this off. I should vacuum it. But what I'm going to do is just take a chip brush, and I'll have to get some tape and get it off my work surface when we're done here. But I'm just going to take my chip brush and scrub away any excess. So once you get to this point, guys, if you're using leaf and it's a nice day, I would say take this outside over the top of your trash bin or something and do this so you don't have all this teeny tiny bits of gold leaf all over your studio or your little art table or whatever. So basically this, I know it looks like fireworks kind of, but this is the first step to how the wine is going to be coming out of the bottle. We are going to add glass and bubbles to that. So what I want to do really quick before we do our bottle is take some tape and get this mess up. I should wait until after we do the bottle, but I can't stand it. I'm just going to take tape and I'm just going to grab up all that loose leaf. I'll show you how it works. See, all that loose leaf, so it's not flying all over my studio and in resin when I start resining in the morning. Throw that away. Okay, so now we're gonna do our bottle. I don't think I'm gonna do a second coat in my bottle. I wanna go ahead and just apply the leaf. And if it looks like I need more, then you can always put more size on top of the leaf and do another layer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and work it, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I have this big section of gold. I am literally going to stick it in my bottle. Watch this. I'm just gonna stick it in, press it down, and look, voila. How's that? How is that? Now I need to get some more for the other side. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use every bit of that. So I'm going to take that little bit and press it over here into that section. And I'll do the same with this little snippet. Just press it in. So it's sticking really nicely, and I don't know if you can see that little bit of a crackle area right here where the leaf's not fully, I can't see where it is, right here. Where's my finger? Where the leaf is like crackled. I love that. I'm leaving it. I love it. I like things that are irregular and imperfect. So we're leaving that just like that. So let me get my scissors and cut another quick little section of leaf and finish this sucker up. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to go to this side and just press it in. And so it's going to stick where the size is. See? Is that cool? Who's leaving? Richard? Night, Richard. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to tuck that all the way down to the bottom of that bottle. Press in Love it. I'm gonna use my fingers to kind of press it around. Use cotton gloves if you're a professional. Now I'm gonna get the bottom of the bottle as well. I'm just gonna stick that in. So when you buy leaf, composition leaf from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, it's gonna come in squares. It's gonna come with maybe, I don't know, 25 squares like this. A company that went out of business in Eatonton about 2 years ago, I bought several things from them, and one of the things I bought was 5 rolls of gold leaf, and it's all on a roll. But what you're gonna get at Hobby Lobby or Michael's is squares. Okay, it's gonna be a pack with like 25 squares about this size, and they're on this paper already. So you'll be able to just do what I did and just press that in to your bottle. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with my brush. I'm gonna save this because that's a good bit of leaf left. We may need it for something. I'm gonna throw this out real quick. So I'm gonna take my brush again, and I'm gonna do the same thing in my bottle as I did with my canvas. So I'm just gonna press that all down, get any loose bits out. Whew. Now I've got a dirty table again. And so here is what I end up with. So there is my bottle. Hang on, I'm gonna get this mess up and then we'll put it on the canvas so you can kind of see a general idea of what we're doing. So let's see. Yes, the leaf comes in silver, copper, gold, variegated, which means it's like gold with green and blue and orange mixed in, like it's a patina. So you can get all that stuff. I think the brand, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it may be Mona Lisa. And that, they also make the size that you can buy for the leaf as well. Mona Lisa, is that right? So, there's our bottle. Let me grab my canvas. So our bottle will go sideways right there. I should put a little bit of gold just all the way up, and I may do that in a minute. So that is kind of what we're going for here. We are going to let this sit overnight, mostly because my head is about to burst and I can't function anymore. We are going to add some gold and some clear glass up here and some bubbles. We are going to add some clear glass at the bottom and a little cork off to the side somewhere that has popped out. And I may bring that gold, just a teeny line of that while I have it out, all the way up to the edge of that rim right there so that it shows that all the way to the tip top. So we'll see if I do that or not. I don't know. So that is where we're gonna end today. Okay, so you can see what we're doing. So all I did was rob my cork jar, and I have hundreds of corks, guys, seriously. Oh my goodness. Hey, Dot. I'm glad you joined us. Your wine is white. That's okay. It doesn't matter, honey. Let's just cheer. Pooh. Toast, toast, toast. Thank you for the sprinkles, Diana. I've been watching last night when oh my goodness. You almost cut your finger off. That is not cool, man. Okay, so the first thing I do, guys, is I put a little bit of water in a cup. Okay, probably about a half a cup of water. Then you put your cork in it. Put another cup of water on top so that it keeps the cork underwater. And I let mine soak. Mine is Pinot Noir, Mary. I kept mine about 2 hours. Excuse me, I choked on my own tongue. I soaked my cork for about 2 hours. It just makes it a little bit easier to cut, okay? Now what I use to kind of hold on to my cork is I have these pliers and I just kind of get them where I want them, and I'm hold on to my cork with my pliers so that I'm not holding my cork with my fingers and trying to cut, okay? So the first thing I do, just grab on, and I like to cut right under the words because it helps keep you straight. Thank you for the blessings. So you see how I cut right under where it says Mark West? Oh my gosh. See, Richard? We do that all the time to ourselves, don't we? I do that with paint and non-paint clothes. Of course, that's not an injury. That's not almost cutting your finger off, but you know what I'm saying. We think, oh, it won't take but a second. Boom. Okay, so what I like to do is just score a quick line with my box knife, okay? I'm going to turn it over here and show you from this side because I haven't scored this side yet, okay? So what I like to do is just kind of score a line with a box knife, okay? And then I mark it on the other side, so I'll score the end lined up with that score. So then I'm going to score the other end lined up with that score, and then I meet those in the middle. So all that's left, the black dots are little grippers that hold your glass. So when you're cutting a sheet of glass, it kind of keeps your glass from sliding around. That's what those are. Okay, so what I do then is I just take my cork in my hand and I just take the point of my box knife and I just start kind of digging it straight down into my cork. See how that worked? So it kind of cuts it almost to the center. And we'll do it again. Just poke it all the way down until you get it all cut. Then you're going to flip over and do the same thing to the other side. Just keep kind of gouging it. And then you end up with, keep gouging it. It's kind of not straight in there. So then you end up with 2 cork halves. Yay! I don't know why mine do, but both of mine had it. I don't know, maybe we ordered from different places, but I'm pretty sure I sent you to the same place that I bought mine, so I didn't know. I can't answer that question. I have no idea. Actually, I don't know. Don't get me to lie. Anyway, so soften it up with water for a couple of hours, score your line, and when you're scoring, use some pliers so you're not cutting in to with your fingers there, and then you can hold it to actually kind of do the gouging, and unless you have some big pliers that you can hold it with, and just kind of just poke it down into that score line all the way around. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Sandra. So until you get 2 halves, and then you're good. Good to go. All right? Now, I'm going to tell you this. You want your cork to dry out and get all that moisture out of it before you resin it. I'm not going to worry about mine because resin and water do not mix. I think mine will be fine because I actually took it out of the water about an hour ago and it doesn't really feel wet. But if you cut it and your cork still feels a little wet, you might want to put it out in the sun or let it dry out a little bit before you add it to your piece and start to resin so that you don't have water mixed in with your resin because that is a recipe for disaster. So 2 little corks, we're just going to use 1. So I'll put the other one aside for the next piece. And voila, look what we have. So I'm going to turn this a little sideways. Let me put this up so that you can kind of see what we're doing. So I'm going to work up here first and add my glass. We're not going to do anything to our bottle yet. We're just going to let it float here so we know where we're going. And we're going to add our glass here. And then we'll come down here and add our glass here. We'll add some bubbles. And then we will mix our resin. And we're going to do a little tiny bit of resin on the inside of our bottle. Lay it down. Make sure you get some on the edge. We're going to lay it down and then we'll resin over the top of everything. How you like that? Oh, it was such a pretty day today here, guys. Oh my goodness. And tomorrow, sunny, high of 82. Don't be jelly. Because I'm going to be sitting in the sun in my undergarments. Because my bathing suit's too small. That's right. All right, before we get started, happy Friday. Cheers to everyone. Time to sip. Yummylicious. Hey, Phyllis. Okay, so confession. This is a little much for me. All this gold. After I got done with it, you know, I was kind of feeling a little cranky that day. After I got done with it, I was like, that is too fat. I don't really like it that much. So we are going to start with clear. Okay, so I'm just literally going to add just some clear randomly in kind of that same flow as the gold little splashes are. So we'll just add some clear. Just kind of in that same direction, just to kind of hide a little bit of that gold, tone it back a little. I wish I'd made my little lines a little thinner, but it is what it is. It's okay. I'm sure it'll turn out fine. So we're just gonna add, yes, add a little bit. I'm gonna end each little row with just kind of a little single thing. We'll add a little bit of gold to this too, to finish it up. So let's see, a little bit of splash. So do yours the way you want. If you like the gold, just do the gold. I'm just doing mine the way I want. You know, there are no rules. You do you, I do me. Everybody's happy, right? Okay, so now I have just a smidge of gold that I brought to the dance, to our Friday night dance. Just a little bit of gold. And let me pour it in a cup. It'll be easier to manage. Just dump it out. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that gold along those lines. Not too much. That gold leaf turned out pretty serious, so I'm not going to add too much gold. I'm using mostly clear. That piece is too big. I'll just add little smidges of gold here and there. Yeah, it's going to be awesome, I think. I like the clear that kind of tones those gold lines down, but you can still see them a little bit. Makes it better for me. All right. Now, we'll probably add some, you know, down at the bottom a little bit too. Let's add a few little kernels here and there at the top. Doing more of that, just not sure what I'm doing until I do it kind of stuff. All artists do that. Okay, so now what I want to do, okay, so that's kind of like it's splashing out of the bottle. Do you, and roll tide, that's right. Oh my God, I think my chair is a little broken. Yes, Karen, you can. I'm a little low on glass right now, waiting patiently, impatient for my supplier. It says my order has shipped, but Cindy hadn't seen it yet. So I am getting a little anxious. So, yeah, and we're back ordered on Solex, so there's that problem. So I'm getting a little irritable about it, but we'll be all right. We can always work it out. We'll figure it out as we go. Okay, so there's all that, okay? So what I'm gonna do now, before I do anything else, is add a little bit of this clear down at the bottom. And I'm also gonna mix in, so for both pieces, the clear up here and the clear at the bottom, less than a pound. Probably about 3/4 of a pound. But I also have bronze reflective. Hey, Judy, too. I just let them be, Colette. I am not even worried about all that. That is way too much micromanaging for this girl. Way too much. So I'm add a little bronze, whatever color you like. If you want to keep it clear, do that. Just a little bit of bronze. And now I'm just going to kind of push it up to the top so that it you know, kind of defines the table, so to speak. And now I want to add a few other things. Okay, so you know, I have this little bucket of glass, this little thing of glass that I got from Michael's. I don't know why I had a little brain fart there for a second, but this is glass filler that you can get at Michael's, and this is their champagne color. It's kind of the color of our platinum. It's a really just kind of a silvery color. I really want to just smatter a little bit of that because it's much tinier than the 1/4 inch glass. I do have, you know what, here's the deal with the wine bottles. They're already pre-packaged from the guy who sends them to me, okay? He cuts them and he sends them to me. And in that first order, he did not indicate what was in each package. He didn't like separate them into color. I'm just letting it go. So, and I didn't want to tear open 500 packages to see what colors were there. So I cannot guarantee in this shipment that I have, I do have another shipment coming, but in the shipment that I have, I cannot guarantee any specific color. That's why it says that on my website. I cannot guarantee it because I just don't have the wherewithal or the time to open 500 pre-packaged bottles. But we fixed that with the guy. We have come to a meeting of the minds. And he'll be labeling those from now on. So Cheryl, until then, excuse me, I can't guarantee what color you get if you order. And the next order that he is sending me doesn't have clear in it at all, but it does have cobalt. It does have some cobalt. Okay, so I just smattered in some of that tiny little Michael's brand teeny tiny glass. What? I can't see what that comment is, so I'm just going to keep moving. Now I'm going to add some bubbles because you know what bottle of wine is any good without bubbles. So we're just going to add some bubbles to our canvas. I'm digging this now. I'm really starting to kind of like it. Can you even see what I'm doing? I'm going to turn it sideways. There. Now can you see? Sorry. Hang on. Okay, may throw a few bubbles down here at the bottom, and a little spillage. Okay, so now I'm going to take my half cork and I'm going to add a little glue to the bottom of that if I can find my glue. I got to figure out exactly where I want it to be. I think I'll just kind of leave it a little angle, maybe not the same angle as the bottle, but maybe just kind of sitting on sitting on the faux table here. Let me see. My glue bottle, my glue is a little stopped up. It doesn't want to come out. I must have left the top off. Let me just add a little bit of glue so I don't move that around. And let's see. Let's decide. Did I go blank? Can y'all still see me? Did I die? Am I gone? Somebody give me a thumbs up or comment. My iPad just, am I still there? Can somebody say yes? Okay, good. My iPad just blacked out. I can see comments, but not the video, so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to stick that right there. And I may bring down a few more bubbles if I have them. So I'm going to stand up and just kind of look at this from afar. A little more. Yeah, I don't know why my screen went away. Okay, so I'm liking this. I think I need a smidge more gold right in the tip of that bottle. So it looks like it's all coming out there. But I'm pretty good with this. I have to kind of step back from it and look at it from above. But I so wish I had a cut wine bottle and a glass, because that would be so cool here. But we're good. We're golden. We're going to go with the flow, use what we have. I'm in that I can't get enough mode. So I'm going to add a little bit of this Michael's brand glass at the bottom, just because I can. And I think we are ready to go. I think we're going to resin now. Okay, so I'm going to mix. That's a good bit of glass. That's a good bit of glass. So I'm going to guesstimate 6 ounces. And I'm not sure if that'll be enough, but we're going to play it by ear. Thank you. I love it. You know, I am going to work on trying, now that it's warm and maybe it won't rain every day, I'm going to see, I have wine bottles now, but I'm going to see if I can cut a glass. I know it needs to be a thicker glass, but I'm going to see, because I would love to incorporate a wine glass in here of some sort. But I'm going to scooch this up just a smidge. Let me get some of this junk out of my way. We are going to mix resin. I already glued the cork, so I don't think I'm going to move it. I glued it down. Yeah, it would probably look good up here, but this space was so blank that, you know, I'm sure it would have looked really good up here. But this space was kind of blank and it was bugging me. So that's why the cork's down there. So we're just going to leave it. Already glued it. Not that it's permanent, but it's fine. You're welcome, Linda. So let's go ahead and mix some resin. You guys know I use art resin. I'm going to get my gloves on. And I'm not going to glue the bottle, Donna. What I'm going to do once we get resin mixed is lift that bottle up. And I'm going to resin the whole thing without the bottle. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift it. Then what I'll do is rub just a little bit of resin on the inside and on the edges. Then we'll place it back down in its place and then put more resin on the outside. So we're not going to glue it down because I need for resin to be underneath that bottle. And maybe some bubbles. You won't be able to see some of those because of the bottle, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thank you, Dot. I like it too. I like it too. And I have like in my house, I have a little wine bar area. So I think I am keeping this for myself, which I rarely do, but you know how it goes. Sometimes you just have to do that. So cheers. It's time for a sip. And where's my resin? Where's my resin? Where's my resin? Here we go. So art resin is what we're using. I can't ever find my camera and I see it on backwards again. And I'm gonna do, what did I decide? 6 ounces, 4 ounces, 6 ounces. I'm gonna do, what did I say? I'm gonna do 6 ounces for 200 milliliters, which is just over 6 ounces. So we'll see how it goes. So let's do, I'll probably have too much, but better too much than too little because I always have other pieces. And trust me, I have crosses that need to be resin too. So we're gonna do 6, and then I'll let you know when we're done exactly how much I used. Okay, that's 3.5. No, that's 3 ounces. I can't see. Hang on. There we go. So we'll get this. We've got to slow down when it gets close to that line because it does like to grow. And you don't want to over pour, especially if you're risking it and using 1 cup. So that's good. Thank you for sprinkling. Thank you for sprinkles. Yes, it's gonna look fabulous. I'll have to take a picture of it so you guys can see. Rima, are you here still, babe? Are you here, my girlfriend? So I'm gonna put these here so that I don't forget once we're done stirring that I need to put my blocks on. And I'm gonna start now if somebody will time me, Miss Rima. Ooh. Break glass, girl. So I'm gonna stir, and I'll stir slowly so as to incorporate as few bubbles as possible, scraping the bottom, scraping the sides. That way we don't have that cake mix problem. So you have to mix this resin for 3 minutes. And if you're using a different resin, please follow the directions for whatever resin you're using because they are all different. Thank you, Cynthia. They are all different, and some resins are measured by weight. Some are measured by measuring. And some are, you need to mix for a certain amount of time and let it rest, whatever. So whatever resin you're using, follow the instructions for that particular resin. So that way you don't get mad at me. Have you ever cut? No, I have not. I've tried to cut my own bottle lengthwise about 722 times. And I'll always break them. And so I just give up. I am not the most patient person in the world when it comes to that. And you really kind of have to gear up, Norma, to cut a bottle with your saw. And, because glass flies, water flies, you have to use a wet saw and you have to use a diamond blade. And that stuff just flies all over the place. Hang on, I got a problem. I'm using a used cup, and I see that I somehow missed getting some of the dried resin out. So hang on, I got to get that out. So we don't want this in our art. Well, ain't that some crap right there? So, Norma, I just gave up, and I buy them wholesale from a guy, 500 at a time, and I'll let him wear the Kevlar and have the headaches, and I'll just be happy to pay for them, because sometimes it's just easier that way. I just am too impatient, and I don't like getting all that glass and water on me. You get tiny little cuts. Right, Richard? I know. I'm stirring, guys. I promise. Thank you for the sprinkles, Darlene. Guys, get this. I am 2 likes away from 30,000 Facebook followers. And here's what I'm going to do. I just decided this just now because it is super exciting, because 4 years ago, I had 200 followers, and most of those were family and people I went to school with and people who felt sorry for me because I begged them to like my page. And I am just on the cusp of 30,000. So if I hit 30,000 tonight, which there is a darn good chance that I will, because I'm just a couple people away from 30. If I hit it tonight, anybody who shared, I said the S word, anybody who sprinkled the page tonight is going to go in a drawing for a piece of art, or maybe a gift certificate to go against a piece of art. I'll figure that out. But I am so excited to potentially hit that 30,000 mark. I am humbled and just in awe and disbelief that there are 30,000 people who like my page. It is so humbling that's fine, Rena, so humbling for this little small town Mississippi girl to have that many followers on my page. It is super humbling. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate all you guys who come and love me all the time. So thank you for the sprinkles. And I will draw a winner tomorrow after I hit the 30. And somebody is going to get something special. So excited. This is just a huge milestone for me. Time is up. Okay, so I'm going to move these blocks. Actually, I'm going to move that over there, and I'm going to move my blocks to the end, and I'm going to go ahead and elevate my canvas. I got to get it back down here so you guys can see it. Okay, so I'm going to elevate. One block there. One block here. Oh, there's something under there hindering. One block here, and I'm going to go ahead and resin this entire piece, and then we'll come back and deal with the bottle. Okay? Makes me happy too. It's just like unbelievable to me. It's like, what? And I didn't really even realize it until today. So I went to the post office and I took all my deliveries to the post office, and then I had a couple other errands to run. And then I stopped at Sonic to get me a tea because I love Sonic tea. And I was kind of just perusing my Art Shattered page while I was waiting on my tea. And I just so happened to see that I had like 29,996 page likes. And I was like, what? Oh my goodness. I was floored because you don't really see that anymore on your page unless you are in Facebook Manager, because they kind of hide that from you now for whatever reason. So you don't really see that. So I was completely floored. It's so humbling. Oh my goodness. It just makes me want to reach through the phone and hug. I do have some wine. It makes me want to reach through the phone and hug every single one of you guys who consistently shows up, who consistently blesses my page to your friends and follows me, and people who are in my membership group. And oh my God, I just feel the love, guys. Totally. And I'm not crying. You're crying. I'm not crying. You're crying. I got a little emotional at the Sonic. Y'all know me. I am an emotional girl. So I got a little emotional at the Sonic, and I messaged, listen to my voice. I messaged a couple of my friends and sent them a screenshot, and I was like, how is this happening? I'm just in awe. Oh, thank you, Janie. I'm just like shocked. It's like, what? How is that even possible? Just crazy pants. So I'm just going up and down, trying to follow a pattern of covering my glass so that I don't miss a spot. So I like to kind of go up, down towards myself, or however, whatever pattern I'm following, just to ensure that I don't miss a spot, because it's super easy to do, especially when you have a lot of glass and especially when it's clear. So we're gonna make sure we have all this glass covered. While I'm doing this too, I would like to say, if you're new to the page, thank you so much for being here. And if you are interested in potentially learning how to do glass art, we have 2 opportunities available right now for you guys. We have the Shattered Circle, which is a monthly membership group where we do fun things all month, every month. And that is $37 a month. And if you're interested in more information about our monthly membership, if you just comment membership, I will get back to you and tell you all about all the things that that entails our monthly membership. The other offering that we have on the table right now is our Beginners Boot Camp. I know it looks cool, don't it? The gold leaf looks cool kind of through the glass. Kind of took it back a notch, so it's not so bold in your face. So it's kind of made it perfect. So our other offering is for beginners. We have a 4-week beginners boot camp. So we take you from knowing nothing to knowing everything you need to know to be a successful glass artist. From breaking glass, breaking vase, cutting shapes, tinting resin, everything you can imagine. Very comprehensive, 4 weeks, 4 art projects, and that is open as well, and it is $127 for 4 art projects over the course of 4 weeks. So if you're interested in more information on that, comment boot camp, and I will make sure you get information enough to see if that is something that you are also interested in. So comment membership if you need more info on our membership, and boot camp if you think you might be interested in boot camp, and we'll just shoot you over some information and you can just decide if you want to do either or both, whichever. We'd love to have you either way. So let's see. Let me do my little tidbits. I'm going to come down here and do the bottom. Let's cover our cork. I might need to make more resin. I didn't do a very good job of guesstimating. Maybe not. We shall see. Yesterday, I was making more crosses and I grossly estimated how much I needed for the crosses that I was making. So I had a ton of resin. I had to run up here, throw something together. It was crazy. Because normally I have things, but I didn't have enough. We may be good. So we're super excited. Our boot camp is going to start Friday, I think that's May 8th. Friday, May 8th. We are going to do our opening ceremony for our beginners boot camp. So we'd love for you to join us before then so you can get yourself prepared. And we are kind of preparing like a little bundle, a glass bundle package for boot camp projects. So we're trying to help people get anything that they can't find that maybe we have. We're trying to make sure our people get what they need to the best of our abilities. Some things I have zero control over, like Solex glass. I don't know what's going on with Solex, but nobody has any. Okay, guys, so we have all that covered. So right now, the first thing I want to do is just, I'm going to add a little bit more, boom, 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 right where that bottle is going to go. And I'm just going to take my hands and scrub around with my hands. I'm going to kick Richard's tail. I'm going to drive down there and get you. I'm just going to smear around and make sure all of my canvas is covered. It's a little harder to resin when you have a lot of like little sprinkles everywhere, but it's okay, it's doable. It just takes a little extra time. So we are gonna just take that time and smear our resin around. Don't do this with your bare hands, guys. If you're new here, gotta wear those gloves. Follow the directions on your resin. Don't be crazy. So I'm just going to smear around. Okay, now I can put my bottle back down and then we'll worry about the rest. I want to just get to that place where I can put my bottle in, because then I'll know how much resin I have left to play with. So what I'm going to do now is take my bottle and I am going to just drizzle a little bit on the inside. So let me put this here. I'm just going to scoop up. I don't even know what to do. I'm going to actually just lay it here because it's going in the resin anyway. And I'm just going to scoop in a little bit of this resin. And I'll pick it back up and I'm just going to smear it to the inside. Very thin coat. You don't want to have so much resin that it gets drippy. You just want enough that it's going to run down a little bit and make sure it's adhered to your canvas. Okay, so now I'm going to take that resin. I'm going to make sure I get plenty of it on that edge. And I'm going to lay it back in place. All right, so it's going right here. And voila. There we go. Oh my goodness. OMG. Okay, so now, sorry. Now I'm just gonna go along the edge, the top edge of my bottle, add a little bit more resin there, and just smear it around. And what I want it to do is fall off. Hang on, got a little bubble in the way. Make sure your bottle is touching your canvas all the way around. You don't want a piece of glass interfering with it touching. There's no glass underneath there. Okay, so I'm gonna rub all that resin all over my bottle. Make sure it's completely coated. Do I? Yay! I'm so excited. Oh my God, guys. Y'all are gonna make me cry. Oh my God, I'm so emotional. Oh, I'm a train wreck these days. Okay, so now my hands are super saturated with stuff, but I'm gonna just go ahead and finish up. I have just a little bit of resin left. Oh my God, my heart's beating really fast for some reason. Oh, now I got the sniffles. You guys are so awesome. You guys are so stinking awesome. I'm going to do something special for you guys too. Oh, Lord have mercy. This old redneck from Mississippi. Oh my goodness. Makes me so happy. So I'm going to add a little bit more, and we flat out used every bit of this resin, guys. Whatever's left, I'm just going to add it to the top of that wine bottle just for extra security. Guys, oh my gosh, this definitely calls for celebration. Oh, guys, oh, holy moly, my torch is downstairs. Kristen! Sorry for the yell. Kristen! I'm going to have to go to the door and holler and get one of them to bring me my torch, because we definitely want to torch this. So whatever's left, I am just going to top it right on the top of that wine bottle. And then I'm just gonna let it flow down the sides, and it'll go better when I hit it with that heat. It'll kind of heat it up and make it flow down. But I need to go, hang on, I'm gonna go to the door and holler at these girls. Yes, just the resin will hold it. I'm gonna holler at those girls and see if I can get one of them to bring me my torch. Hang on, 1 minute. See, when those girls are gone next week, the girls are moving out next week, and when they're gone, I'll be in trouble if I forget something. Okay, but while she's gone to get me the torch, I'm going to take just like a little skewer or a toothpick or whatever, because I see a few little particles of gold leaf from that just kind of floating in the resin, and I don't mind them too much, but I don't want them to look, you know, like they're specks of dirt or something. But it would be cool to just drop little pieces of gold leaf in the resin. But right now it's just enough to make it look like a dirty spot. So we'll get those out real quick while she is fetching the torch for me. Come on in, girl. Oh, wrong girl. Thank you, love.
You're welcome.
Ta-da! Okay, so we are gonna torch. I'm gonna start with that bottle so that I can heat it up and get that resin to run down the bottle. Now remember, when you're torching, you don't want to focus on one spot, okay? You want to keep your hand moving and keep the flame off of your art piece. You want just enough, to be just close enough. I see a little missy spot. Just close enough that it heats up the resin and pops those bubbles, okay? If you stop your movement and focus on one spot for too long, you are gonna burn a hole in your resin, and it's gonna turn yellow and you're gonna be sad. You heat up that bottle. You're gonna burn that resin and it's gonna turn yellow and you're gonna be so upset. So that's all we're gonna do. And here's the deal. Because we used a texture and because it's kind of crackly and textury, we're not going to worry too much about bubbles. And I tell you guys this all the time. Don't stress yourself out over bubbles and everything being perfect. Do not do it. Nothing in life and nothing in nature is perfect. You know, I have so many people who will message me and they're so upset because they have a little bubble here or a little bubble there, a little skippy spot here or there. Please don't stress yourself out about that. Believe you me, I've never had a customer say to me, I have a missed spot down here. And we'll see if I can scrape out enough. I've never had a customer say to me, oh, I don't want to buy this piece because there's a little spot here, you know, that's a hair's width long that doesn't have resin on it, or there's a bubble. They don't even notice those things. That is us micromanaging our own art. Nobody else even notices, and if they do, move along. This is a man-made, woman-made piece of art, not machine-made. It's not ever going to be perfect, so quit trying to be perfect. It's not going to happen. All right, we used every bit of those 6 ounces, every stinking bit. This is a 12 by 24. Yay! I don't think the pitting looks bad, Elizabeth. That is, I guess, a personal choice, but I don't think the pitting looks bad. I had done several pieces. I wish I had one right here with me that I love that has pitting, because I don't, you know, it depends on the piece, but for the most part, I do not think the pitting looks bad, especially on an art piece that's textured or has a plaster on it. It kind of adds to it, in my opinion, but that's just me. You do you. You do you, boo. Can't decide if that's a crackle or a hair. It's a crackle. So I'm going to give it one more look. I don't see any boo-boos. I don't see any garbage. I don't see any flecks of dust. I don't see any issues. I don't see any problems. Okay, voila. I cannot wait for you guys. Let me push it back a little bit. Can you see it?